What's going on, guys? Welcome back. To start off this episode, I guess you could say, or this recap episode, whatever you want to call it, we're going to talk about the big news today, which was that the Miami Heat and the Celtics game got postponed because of health and safety protocols, which we all know what it is. I just can't say it on YouTube. And we all been dealing with it for over a year, so it's no surprise. The NFL deal with it. MLB is going to have to deal with it when their season comes back. So it's just going to be interesting to see what the NBA does to make it work, just move pieces around, move, flexible schedules and all that, and just really make this thing work for the whole duration of the season. And I believe that's what every NBA is going to be interested in looking at, over the next couple of weeks, because this is really when the health and safety protocol has been getting to the NFL, was this past week and a half. And so it's just going to be interesting to see, and we're going to have to wait it out and just wait for the word from the NBA. And yeah, that's really the big news that I wanted to get into today. I know that there's just a lot of questions around it, but right now we just don't know, and we got to wait and see on when this game's going to be played, what happens to their schedule, what happens. We just have to wait and see what the NBA says, and just go with it and be flexible like they are trying to be. But to get into today's slate of games, we're going to get to the games that I didn't really watch first, which was the Nuggets versus Knicks and the Lakers versus Rockets. And let's go Lakers versus Rockets to start it off. Yeah, Lakers versus Rockets to start it off. So start this off, Lakers versus Rockets. So I watched about maybe a solid 10 minutes of this game, like 10 actual NBA minutes of this game. And it was late to early fourth. Rockets were making a push, but I wasn't expecting them to beat the Lakers, which they didn't. They fall to the Lakers 120 to 102 as Anthony Davis goes for 27 points, 4 boards, which is kind of weird, but shot 9 of 12 from the field. And the main story today was the bench of the Lakers. They got the job done. Montrezl Harrell with 16 points, Kyle Kuzma with 13, and then the preseason superstar, I guess you could say, for the Lakers, Talen Horton-Tucker with 17 points. And, over these last couple of games, he's really just proved and solidified his spot on that bench, and, just solidified a role on the team, which is, you like to see it for, those role players, that nobody really hears about and just comes up through preseason playing well and, carries it over to the regular season, that's a great thing to see. You're happy for anybody that does that. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Lakers continue to use him, especially when it comes to those crunch time big games. And yeah, from the Rockets side of things, the team's still trying to find their identity, and it wasn't really all that interesting to watch them. Christian Wood still improving, or still, impressing people with his 23 points, 3 boards, 1 assist. Wasn't really doing it other than scoring, and only shot 50% from the field with 10 to 20 from the field. And then James Harden, 7 of 14 from the field with 20 points. It still looks like he wants to be out of there. And yeah, man, this team's just struggling to find their identity, and it's just not fun to watch them. It really isn't, apart from Christian Wood. Christian Wood has been exceptional this season, and, Harden's going to get his, but I've never liked the way James Harden plays personally. I understand, he puts up numbers, and that's great and all that. I've just never personally enjoyed the way he plays. And I'm not enjoying the way he's playing right now, especially with the look of him trying to leave Houston. It's not really intriguing. For the other game, the Knicks versus the Nuggets, only one who really showed out for the Knicks today was Julius Randle, of course, continuing his push for Most Improved Player of the Year. 29 points, 10 boards, and 5 assists on 11 of 16 from shooting. 11 from 16 from the field. And, that's just the play that he's been playing at all season long. RJ Barrett getting 33 minutes and only scoring 9 points. You don't like to see that. RJ Barrett's got to be that consistent scorer. And, so far this season, it's the same thing we see. He has these flashes and all that, but he can't put it all together and just be consistent. And you're just waiting for that as a Knicks fan. You're waiting for him to be consistent and put it all together. And for the Nuggets side of things, Jamal Murray didn't have a big day, only 9 points. Jokic did his thing, 22 and 10. And yeah, really this game wasn't that interesting. Denver got out to a lead early, and just ran with it really and finished the game 114-89. Now for the games that I did see today, we're going to start off with the early game, which was the Jazz and the Pistons, as the Jazz beat the Pistons 96-86. And for the Pistons, the main highlight, who has been the main highlight all season, Jeremy Grant. He's living up to that contract of 3 years, $60 million, paying him $20 million a year. And, he's going to continue to put up 28 points. You're going to be happy with that. I mean, he's been scoring in that 20-point range the past 8 games. And, just to continue that throughout the season, I believe that's what Pistons fans want. They don't really want to win, but they do want to just see those flashes, especially from the players they signed. Mason Plumlee had a good start to the season. It's kind of slowing down right now. But Grant playing great ball right now. Just playing great ball on the offensive side of the court. It just looks like he added tools over the offseason, or maybe just didn't get a bigger role in the offense at Denver, where now he's the main guy. He's got to score. So, Jeremy Grant's looking pretty good. I do believe they have to get Doumbia some more minutes, only 5 minutes today. And then Saddiq Bey, he had 27 minutes but only scored 12 points. And it was just a rough game for the Pistons as well. But for the Jazz, Mike Conley and Mitchell did their thing. Mike Conley with 22, Mitchell with 28. And Rudy Gobert wasn't really a problem on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he got some really key stops when in the third quarter, the Pistons were making a good run, cutting the lead. I think they got it to within 4. And then, it was that mid to late fourth quarter when Rudy Gobert really anchored down on that defensive end of the ball and just made some key stops. And, that's what you paid Rudy Gobert for, even though he is one of the most overplayed players in the NBA right now. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, that's pretty much from that game. Clarkson did his thing, making that running for the Sixth Man of the Year award. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Jazz beat the Pistons 96-86. For the Bulls and Clippers, Bulls made some pretty good runs to start the game. They had a pretty decent lead, and it was just interesting to see. And Pat Williams was playing really good ball today. I think this was his best game as a rookie. So you like to see that as a Bulls fan, and you also just like to see that defense. He had to guard LeBron. I believe it was like a couple nights ago, or maybe even last night. I don't know. Had to guard LeBron. Had that assignment of Kawhi. Was even on PG at times. And, he plays very well defensively. You have to give him credit. He's very long, and, he shuffles his feet well. You can just tell that the defense, it's natural to him. It comes to him. You just got to improve the offensive game, which today wasn't a problem. 17 points. He looked pretty good. Zach LaVine with the big game. He's in that same category as Bradley Beal. Just an underrated, underappreciated player. Just because he plays for a crappy team doesn't mean he himself is a crappy player. 45 points, 7 boards, 7 assists. You just love to see that from Zach LaVine. And that's pretty much it from the Chicago side of the ball. That was really exciting. But they did keep it close. The thing is Kawhi and PG did their thing and combined for 63 points, as Kawhi goes for 35 and PG goes for 28, sorry. And, yeah, that's what really killed the Bulls. And also, Lou Williams getting back to form with 21 points. I know Clippers fans are going to be happy with that. You wanted to see Lou Will get his wheels back under him after a very slow start to his season, and he did. He got 21 points today. He's back on track, and the Clippers get the job done 130-127. The next game we're going to talk about is let's see, what game we're going to talk about? Thunder versus Nets, which was a weird game. Because, Karis LeVert and Durant did their thing, 36 from Durant, and I believe he had, 11 boards, 11 of 21 from the field. And then Karis LeVert did his thing, 21 points. He didn't shoot that well from the field, 8 of 17. But it was just a weird game because, Durant ran the offense pretty well, got his. Karis LeVert got his. Jared Allen even pitched in 15 points. But yet they weren't able to get the job done against the OKC Thunder, which was surprising. It was the biggest surprise of the day. But SGA goes for 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. That's my most improved player of the year. That's my prediction. And right now he's living up to that. He went 11 from 16 from the field today, shot efficiently, looked good. Diallo gave them some, boost off the bench with 25 points. And it just looked like the Thunder were hitting their shots today. I think that's the problem with the Nets. I wouldn't be too worried or, even, you just shake this game off, you move on to the next one. It happens in the NBA. Thunder were just making their shots, you know, nothing you can really do about it. Al Horford scored 22 points. So there's just nothing you can really do about it as, the Nets lose to the Thunder 129-116. Let's see what game we're going to get into next. I think it's the game I don't want to get into. It is that game. My San Antonio Spurs end their 3-game winning streak, losing to the Minnesota Timberwolves, 96-88. This game was sloppy. It wasn't that enjoyable to watch, honestly. Aldridge had an game. An Aldridge game, I should say. At this point, that's an Aldridge game. An game is an Aldridge game, which is frustrating as a Spurs fan. But 9 of 21 from the field, 20 points. Didn't look that great. Keldon struggled tonight. Was just trying to force it too much. And then Trey Lyles got 35 minutes out of nowhere. Didn't play a lot in the beginning of the season. And you're just going to insert him into the starting lineup and give him 35 minutes. Doesn't make sense to me. But I'm interested to see what they do with him. I liked him at the end of last season. And like I said, I liked him in the bubble. But he just hasn't done anything to begin the season because he hasn't gotten any PT. And then he comes and gets 35 points. Can't expect him to put up a big stat line. Only 5 points from him. And then Lonnie Walker was the only highlight of today. He does those flashy plays. He's super athletic. He gets to the rim, explodes. He even had a nice left-hand layup that just grazed the glass and spun into the basket. But we just weren't able to get the job done today. 88-96. And then for the Timberwolves, I don't even want to talk about the Timberwolves because we lost, but we have to on the show. 26 points for D'Angelo Russell, 24 for Malik Beasley. He was the one that really killed us both games with their scoring, was Malik Beasley. And as you can see, no DeMar for us, no Karl-Anthony Towns for them. Karl-Anthony Towns with the left-hand issue, has to get that figured out. And then DeMar, personal reasons, I understand. So for us, Spurs fans, we just got to look at it, take it on the chin, move on. And, look forward to OKC, I believe, Tuesday. And, just a sloppy game. Not really much to say for it. And then the last game we're going to get into was probably the game of the night, which was the Raptors versus Warriors. Warriors had control of this game, throughout probably most of the first half. And, they look in control, even though Steph Curry had his worst night shooting ever. I mean, rookie season, whatever season you want to pull out, tonight was Steph Curry's worst night shooting ever. And they still got the dub, which is kind of a good sign for the Warriors. Steph's struggling, and y'all still get a dub against an also struggling Raptors team. But still, the Raptors played very well on the defensive end of the ball to end the game. So, just to overcome those struggles at the end of the game with the defense of the Raptors, it's big for a young team and, just a hurt team like Golden State. So Wiggins had a good key defensive stop at the end of the game against Pascal, played some great defense, and he was their leading scorer with 17 points. And he's just really shown out, showing that he's, finally getting his legs under him this season, getting some points. The past 3 games, I believe, he's been doing well. Oubre still not doing the best, but, he hit a 3. He hit a 3, 1 for 6 from 3. He hit a 3. And, like I said, Curry's worst night shooting, 1 from 10 from the field, 2 for 16. Or, no, 1 from 10 from 3, sorry, and 2 for 16 from the field, only 11 points. That's not a Steph Curry stat line. But for the Raptors side of the ball, Siakam, he's finally getting in his bag, 25 points, 11 boards. That's what you want from Siakam. Kyle Lowry brought it in the fourth quarter, didn't really do anything throughout the first 3 quarters. And then in that fourth quarter, hit some free throws, got it going, found his rhythm, hit a big 3 from way far. This man was like about 5 feet away from the 3-point line and just wet balled it. So it was an interesting game with an interesting ending. But, the Golden State Warriors end up on top 106-105. And, the Raptors just have to find that rhythm, especially they have to play the defense they played in the end of the game. The way they were scrambling, the way they were able to just, the switching, all that, that has to be the defense at all 4 quarters, sorry. And it just hasn't really clicked for them this season. If they don't get it going soon, within the next 2 weeks, they're in trouble. They might not make the playoffs. And I know it's early in the season to say that, but you can't fall behind so early in the season and then try to catch up, because if you do and you do make the playoffs, you're going to play as an 8, 7, 6 seed, especially with how stacked the East is. And if you don't, then you're out of the playoffs, which for the Raptors, that's a very unsuccessful season. NBA champs in 2019, 2020, they were second seed, and they are out of the playoffs in 2021. It's going to be a very upsetting season for the Raptors if that happens. They got to get it figured out and turn it around. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me today. And, I just wanted to say, like I said the past 3 videos, just spread positive vibes, be great people, just be motivated to be a great person when you wake up in the morning. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. SFL.